Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna title this, but one thing I need people to understand, and not that I wouldn't say I need people to understand. People don't gotta understand anything. That's why I come on here and tell you guys, hoping that there's some understanding. Uh, my life, guys, regardless of what people thought I did or I shouldn't do, or I went in and made a mistake, and then like people, they got this whole. I don't know what people are being told out there or reading about. I don't know what contracts people sign to speak on things like this. But one thing I need people to know about me is that my whole life seems to have been planned. And I'm not saying I don't make mistakes. Of course I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But what I'm telling you guys is this specific situation in my life, it was all planned by God. I was literally sent in like some on some kind of reconnaissance mission. Remind me of some video games I played, Ghost Recon back in the day. Helicopters full of soldiers, and then it just drops the soldiers right into the battlefield. I told y'all one of my favorite Ghost Recon games was Ghost Recon Island Thunder. They was on a reconnaissance mission to Cuba, and they was dropped in, and then they had a mission they had to take care of. So that being said, I get tired of listening to people act like I was just somebody who just walked right into a situation not knowing that there was a problem. I always knew there was a problem. I knew there was a problem before I stayed with that individual in New York. I've been knew it was a problem. My life has been trying to get away from the problem and having no choice but to go right in. That's how I know. That whole thing about making a contract with God before you come down here because you gotta something you gotta do. I 100% believe that. That's why y'all never hear me argue about that. It's irritating to ponder over, which your logical mind, of course, but I believe it 100% because some of the stuff that has went on with me in this life, it don't make no sense. They are not the choices I would have made had I not been in certain circumstances that I had no control over. I had no control over living with an individual in a Brooklyn project. Y'all think about me, guys, going on 40 years old and had to go live in a Brooklyn project. Do you guys think after living in Vegas by myself, going overseas, living by myself since the age of 24, I was almost 15, 16 years, that I would just up and decide to go live with somebody on YouTube in the Brooklyn projects? Are you out of your goddamn mind? I had no choice. So now here I am listening to all these people talk about, when I did A, B, and C, and you stumbled. Yeah, it was a learning curve without a doubt. But I get tired of hearing people act like I just walked into the battlefield because I chose to. I did not choose to. I had no choice. Whatever direction I had went, when I came back from Cambodia, whether it was to go to New York or to go live with a family member, I was surrounded by on all sides. Any choice I would have made, somebody would have been sitting up here talking about the lesson that I learned. Any choice that I made, I had no choice. Surrounded by demonic people. What choice do you have when you're surrounded by demons? You don't have no choice but to fulfill your mission. And you know how I know, just to wrap it up, you know how I know, guys, that is really true. Remember I told you guys how I was integrated into this whole 144 thing, these numbers. Remember I told y'all how I was integrated in it. You know how many times, guys, I've been at a gas pump and that thing stops when it clicks and it stops on a 144 444, or when I scroll through a video and I just randomly slide my finger across the screen, it just stops at a 144 on a video. Oh, my enemy should be very afraid because this thing is legit. This ain't about taking photos of license plates and coming to show y'all on YouTube. Oh, it's way deeper than that. It's the deepest thing I've ever come across in my life. It's deeper than algebra. It's deeper than calculus. That's how deep it is. I don't understand it. I'm not supposed to understand it. Just like I don't understand how I was surrounded on all sides and didn't have a choice. So, again, I was telling y'all about the whole thing with the people pleasing stuff. Whoever I was people pleasing, I had no choice but to people please. I was integrated into this life, guys. I did not have choices. If I had choices, I would have made better choices. Just like I was telling y'all about some of the circumstances people are grown up in when they grew up in the hood and stuff like that, right? But like I said, did I learn something from this? Oh yeah, absolutely. But it didn't go how I know there are probably not enough English words for people to properly describe my situation without sounding like they crazy or something. But that's why I come in here to say what I'm saying. I didn't have no choice. I was talking to y'all yesterday about having a family when you have children and stuff, and how you know you want to make sure you're in the right financial situation to get married and have children. Now that I had a choice, that's why I'm not married and I don't have children, because I never wanted to struggle. Ever since I was a little boy, I never 333 as I'm talking. I never wanted to struggle. As a little boy, I said if I ever get married and have a family, I never want to struggle, and that remains to be true to this day. But like I said, it's a good story to tell that I was a people pleaser and this happened, or I chose to do this and I made a mistake by trusting some people, and then this happened. Guys, why y'all think I walked away so fast? Do you think I really had any emotional ties to these people like that at the time that I was in their lives? Was I once emotionally codependent? Yeah, when I was younger, a long time ago. We all were. But like I said, I moved out, got my first own apartment at the age of 24, going on 25. Or excuse me, 25. Got my first apartment in 25. I moved to Las Vegas by myself at the age of 30. I was already emotionally separated, which means I was already making choices for myself. Any situation I ended up in after the age of 30 was not my choice. I was already emotionally separated at age 30. So anything that happened, if I ended up in the grips of the devil or anything like I did not walk into it. I was put there.